talked about Tiger Woods. I thought it would be cool to just warm up with like a round of Tiger Woods and then maybe jump into something a little more hardcore. Again, this is sort of a party game or a game you want to play with other people. It's not something I would ever play by myself, but since I have a ton of people watching right now, I might as well play with you guys. Okay, so this is Tiger Woods, and it's not a simulator by any means. It's an arcade-style golf game. You have to learn how it works. Let's see if I remember. I haven't played it for maybe a year. There we go. And you use the left stick. Oh yeah, I can spin too in this one. You use the left stick to hit the ball. It's actually a pretty cool mechanic. So much better than like a Wii style, like ooh, swinging the bat or whatever, anything else you could come up with. Let's go about there. I'm not going to mess around with the clubs very much today. Not bad, not bad. Got a hole in one once. My wife's done 2. Maybe about there. Oh wait, I can you can hit L and get a preview. See, that would have been bad. L1. Let's try that. Putting is the hard part, really. Which is weird because putting, if you don't like, I've only played golf like once or twice in reality, and putting was the easy part since I'd played putt-putt golf growing up. Although usually when I went to play putt-putt golf, I would spend my time playing Rampage in the putt-putt golf's arcade. Much more fun than putt-putt golf, let's be honest. And I used to be all about Rampage when I was little. No idea why. I'm not a huge Rampage fan now. Whoops. $20 off on eBay. That's perfect time to buy a 360. And look up some guides. If you can figure out how to get yourself a Trinity Slim, that's the one to go with. It's basically the most reliable of them all and the easiest for your modder to mod. So it's going to save you, I mean, if you pay $10 extra for the Xbox, it might save you $20 from your modder. And your friendly neighborhood modder will appreciate that you did that too. Oh no. So I got myself into the rough right in the second hole. Right stick controls, you can see I'm picking where I'm going to be hitting. I have no idea what that's called in golf terms. You guys can see why I'm excited about Golf Story on the Switch. It's probably way better than this. And I love Neo Turf Mastas on my MVS and CD, Neo Geo CD. Yeah, you look at guides based on the shape and the amount of pins in the power connector on the 360 in order to find the one the revision that you want. And if you have a big selection, if you're spoiled by choice, go with the Trinity. Oh no, can't believe I missed that. Can't believe that. I hit it way too hard. It's this controller. I've never played Tiger Woods on this brand new Hori Gempad. I'm used to my worn out, crappy old 360 sticks that like drift and everything. Oops. There we go. So if I hit this straight, I can get it in. But let's see. Like you see, it's like, there we go. You can feel it too. It's weird. It's just like in real golf, I imagine you can feel when you're gonna get it, and you can feel it in Tiger Woods. The whole reason that I picked 13 over 10 was that I like the music better in 13. It's really relaxing. And then in the Masters one that came after this, it's like they went way over top with the relaxing nature, and it sounded like something you'd hear in like a massage parlor or something, like really bad. Relaxing, you know, theme music. Alright, now I'm in a sand trap here. Let's look where we are. My character is really powerful, so like he overhits everything. Let's try that. Look at that. See that? That's how you do it. Alright, just let me know if the audio levels are okay. That was a good recovery. And you have to trust me on this one. People like this game a lot, like non-gamers. If I was to like tell a retro gamer, hey, let's go play some Tiger Woods, they'd be like, get out of here. I don't even know you. You know, I hit that one perfectly straight. I'm just saying. Yeah, like a retro gamer, they don't want anything to do with Tiger Woods. But non-retro gamers, it's actually a lot of fun to play with them. And you can make a drinking game out of it. You pass the controller from person to person when you play multiplayer, so it's one of those style games. Each person can create their own character. You can buy, new stupid stuff for them. Upgrade the equipment. Whoa. Alright, so I do want to switch to the putter here. About there. Kind of eyeballing it. Let's try that. Nope. And then you're limited by how much you can see too, so I need to go quite a bit to the left. About there and a little further back. I'm not going to get this one. Let's see. You do want, even if you don't think you're going to get, you want to try to hit it right. I'm having a lot of trouble with this controller, actually. It has such a nice D-pad, but these sticks just don't feel like 360 sticks. No audio? What about now? That one's so I'm not going to be setting a record tonight. I won't torture you guys. I'm just going to do 9 rounds of this and then jump into some Mushihimesama Futari, totally different style game, so I can get my creds back. And here's how I like to hold the controller. I like to put my thumb here on one side, and then that gives you a really good platform for the other one. You'll find that you need to find a way of holding the controller before you can get it straight. And I've seen a bunch of different people the way they hold the controller, and everybody's different. And some people just have an ability to get it straight every time, and I'm not really in that category. Let's see, there's a little wind. Let's just try that. Oh no, I think I messed this one up. Oh, maybe not. Some of the Tiger Woods have spin, some don't. I don't really know what goes through their mind when they decide if they're going to give you spin or not in the Tiger Woods games. This one has spin. You always want to aim a little long, not short. My god, I'm giving golf tips. I knew nothing about golf, but I was a caddy for Hooters. There was a Hooters tour when I was like 15 maybe. And I got a really good tip. So I must know what I'm doing, right? The dude gave me like a ton of money for I was like 18 holes as caddy, knew nothing about what I was doing, and the guy threw down $100 or something. It was a lot of money for me back then. Plus I got paid for doing it. I don't know about cheating. You can play as Tiger. Like, when I got to pick my character there, if I had jumped on as Tiger, he has, like, perfect stats and the best equipment. So that's kind of cheating. Or if you're going to play against people, if you pick Tiger, it's kind of unfair. Unless they all pick someone of that caliber. I think you can all be Tiger. I'm not really sure. I love Tiger Woods. He's my man. He's a cool guy. Total respect for him, and I think the media owe him an apology. He's just a human. He has his passions like the rest of us. Ah. You get a bonus if you hit the flagpole. Oops. Use left and right to pick your what do you call it? Your stick, your club. Pick your golf stick. That's about how much I know about golf. I don't know. I'm getting progressively worse as I drink more of this beer, so maybe it is better than I thought. Let's try that. I'm sure his wife knew what was up. I mean... Nope. Oh, nice. Did you guys see that? Got 100 from Gangbanger. Gamebanger. Thank you. Alright, so I think they're trying to trick me here. Let's go a little short on this one, since it's such a decline. I have a feeling I'm still hitting it too hard, but let's just see. Yep, oh my god, I may have just put myself in a very bad position. Maybe not. Okay, I passed the tree at least. Yeah, like Brian Frober. I mean, like, I really think there are certain celebrities that deserve the hate they get, but then there are some, like Tiger Woods, Michael Jackson. Like, I want a written apology to them. Okay, here we go. There's wind. You can unlock, I'm not sure if this one has it, but you can unlock like a Billy Madison swing too, where you like gallop forward and hit it. So you can customize everything. I know I have you guys sold on Tiger Woods now, don't I? I don't care. I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of YouTubers who pretend to like games they don't like, and they won't tell you the games they do like. So I'm going to tell you, I generally like Tiger Woods. It's fine. It's not going to win an award for the greatest game of all time, but if you have a bunch of people and you're drinking and you're just hanging out and you want a casual game to pass the controller from person to person, you can do a lot worse. That was ugly. There's always going to be those games that you tell people that you like, and the games you really like. And like, I try to be as honest as possible. Like, I love my Dr. Mario. Are there any Tiger Woods games on the 360 or on the Xbox One? I suppose he lost all of his licensing. Let's try about there, because we got wind and we're going downhill. I have a bad feeling about this. I think they're trying to trick me, actually. Let's go here. Yeah, like, I mean, if you have a sports game you like, just play it. Like, you don't have to impress anybody. I don't play any sports games besides golf, but if I liked them, I'd play the hell out of them. I don't care. There's a lot of crappy games I see other people playing that I don't play. Let's try that. The stick is so incredibly hard to control. Touchy, I would say. Might be good for first-person shooters, actually. I mean, it's like you can move super fast with it. Or it might be incredibly bad, I don't really know. I'm trying to think. I don't think I ever played sports games of any kind. I played Tecmo Super Bowl when I was really little with my friends who liked football. But I've found golf games that I like. Like, I remember some of the first games I played on the computer in the Macs in my school were like putt-putt golf games. You can see I'm spinning the ball there. Yeah, Mario sports games are good. Oh, I did like on the Virtual Boy some Mario Tennis. And there was a Sega tennis game on the Dreamcast that I like, actually. I forgot that tennis is a sport. Yeah, so I did like some sports games. Mario Tennis and Sega, whatever the Sega tennis game was. No, come back. Okay, that's good. Oh no, you need the putter. You have to override the selection sometimes of your caddy. You know, they obviously weren't as good of a caddy as I was when I was 14. Maybe somewhere in here. Let's see. Oh no, that was nowhere close. So, okay. The higher your putting skill goes, the less you have to worry about getting it perfect, but this guy is not very good, so I actually have to try. And you can get like balls that increase your accuracy and stuff. Oh, wrestling games. I used to play those on the N64. Yeah, wrestling's a sport. Alright, there we go. So I got my dude 700 experience points playing that round. And you can build up your experience that way, or you can play. You get a lot more if you do a tournament, but who the hell wants to do that? It's 18 holes, and you have to wait for the other golfers. I also have, in every Tiger Woods game I have, all the commentary is disabled because that gets really annoying. I really love it. I have loved it way back since, maybe it was a couple years old, is when I first got mine. And I modded mine. I had it modded way back then. J-tagged it, and I had to burn discs, and that's how you did it back then. And then I started buying a ton of games. So yeah, this is the Hori Gempad. Brian was asking, and it has one annoying feature is that I don't know how to turn off the stupid lights on it. But besides that, I mean, it's a huge step up from the Xbox 360 D-pad. Do much better with a arcade joystick. I have a bunch of those for the 360. My favorites are the Mortal Kombat Classic sticks. I have 2 of those. And let me show tonight's featured tea. I've got a Yunnan sourcing Pu-erh that I'm going to be drinking here. And this is the very first time I've had it. 2017. I think this is Big Mountain something. I'll put the details in the description below later. but you guys know I love my Pu-erh teas, and this is the reason why I like Yunnan sourcing. I don't get paid to say this, by the way, but the reason why I like them, this is Chinese tea, and you have no idea about the quality of it, and you read a lot of stuff. If you read studies about Pu-erh tea, actually, some of it can have pretty high lead levels just because of where it's grown, and the pollution is bad. So Yunnan sourcing sends it off to some lab, and they have 191 different things that they have to test it against in order to be able to sell this in Europe. So you know that you're not going to be poisoned by lead or anything else with this. And it's actually most of it, the owner Brian goes over to China and sources it himself. So when he says it's 100-year-old trees, you can probably trust that. And then it's very cheap. 356 grams of this stuff is like 25 bucks. And for your average human being, that'll last you a very long time. And it gets better with time too, because it's Pu-erh tea. But let me give that a shot, because I'm very curious about this. It's rare that I get to try an all-new Pu-erh tea, because they last so long, and I like to cellar them, I guess you could say. I have a big stash, like at least 15 kilos worth of these, going back all the way to 2006. And I have one of those with me that I'll show in a future stream. But I've just poured some boiling water in my yixing pot. And I'm gong fuing it here just right into a mug, since I don't have my nice Chinese porcelain and stuff here with me in Brazil. And it's the first brew, so I don't even need to let it steep in there. I've got like 8 grams of it. 110 milliliter yixing pot. And what you do is you sequentially brew it until it starts to get a little weaker. It tastes like beer right now. It is good. I can already taste it's malty. Very nice. And this is a very young, it's Sheng. Sheng means raw, so very young Pu-erh. Very nice. Yeah, very good. So again, I think that's the last new Yunnan sourcing tea that I'll show in the stream. The rest I've shown before, and then I can move on to some other random stuff that I have that's not Yunnan sourcing that I've built up over the years. The grip on this, it's not quite as good because it has a slick back, and it's a very small controller. So if you have small hands, it's good. Small to medium, but if you have large hands, it might be cramping your style a little bit. The PDP Versus, that is one thing. It has really nice grip. Very grippy back on it, rubber. Anyways, we're here to talk about the 360. I am an Octogate. Because I grew up in the U.S. with hap-style sticks, and we had it's basically a circular gate on a hap, essentially, if you were to translate that into a Japanese-style stick. And for me, an Octogate is where it's at. I do like square gates a lot, too. I have 50 sticks, and that's not an exaggeration. I'm going to liquidate them seriously when I move back to the U.S., but I have everything. The majority of what I have are Japanese square gates, and then my favorites, I've got Octogates in them, and they're all customized and everything. And then I have a handful of hap stuff, too. U.S.-style sticks, so yeah. You ask a question like that, I could talk for like an hour about that. Give me one more second. My cat's going crazy here. So let's jump into Mushihimesama Futari. And I wanted to use this because there's a ton of these incredible cave shooters on the 360, and they're essentially arcade perfect. I mean, there are differences, of course, but the PCB that Cave used for a lot of these is essentially Xbox 360 parts on it. So these have really good ports to the home. And so this is Mushihimesama Futari version 1.5, which came after some complaints. And I wanted to use this as the quintessential cave game because, one, it's a beautiful game and I like it. But I could show a lot of games that are beautiful and I like. But this one, it has the features that I need to show off if you're going to be playing these things. Because a lot of people don't realize that these cave games are set to really bad defaults for screen filtering and stuff. So, like, what you need to do, any cave game that you're going to play, and really any 2D game at all on the 360, this was the era of smoothing. So they all have screen filters. I don't think there are any that defaulted to having the screen filters off. So what you need to do for this one, I mean, with every cave shooter, every single one, you need to go into the options, go into your screen settings. This one you have to set it to advanced mode, and then you can mess with the layout, you can customize it, but then in here you have options like here's frame delay. So on the actual PCB for Mushihimesama Futari, it has 2 frames of lag built in. So if you put it on 0, there's no lag, no input lag whatsoever. You can put it on 1 and you get rid of the screen tearing, 2 matches the PCB, and 3 is probably makes the game unplayable. So I set it to 0. I don't mind the slight bit of tearing that you get. I think this is an incredible option, and you will never see this on another game. I just think it's so awesome. And Simplify Draw just turns off the background. But, yeah, every cave game you need to go in and turn off screen filtering. You need to set it up to the exact size of your screen, because I think some of them default to like what you would expect out of a 720p TV, and everybody has 1080p nowadays, so you want to set the horizontal and vertical. You want to do an integer scale, but get it up so that you're touching the top of the screen there. Yeah, filters are evil, and you want to get those off. And I think for Mushihimesama, you even need to customize the controller. I think it has rapid shot set to like left or something by default, which I thought was really weird. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I set this up. But yeah. I'm not going to like get the world's best score. I'm just warning you. I have no idea what the difference is between these game modes. I play these games because I enjoy them. Wow, I forgot how weak you start in this. You have a rapid shot, which is more of a spread. And then you have what's called a focus shot, where you can, it's more powerful, and it allows you to dodge bullets a little better. This is just such a beautiful game. So unique. And it has pink bullets, I always appreciate that. I start to die when I switch between the shots a lot. I've noticed that. No idea why. It's like in every shooter, I'll start thinking too much about what shot I'm using and stuff. But yeah, it's like tropical, I don't know what you call this, prehistoric theme. Lots of turtles and giant turtles, things like that. Dinosaur kind of things, lizards, reptilian kind of stuff. And now you guys see why I like this Gempad. It's pretty good for this game. Even though it's a mushy... There you go, fighting a T-Rex. And you always want to have your finger on the bomb in this game. Like on this entrance. I start to do good after about an hour and a half or 2 hours of playing this. Oh. I didn't realize I had the audio down again. Let's try... can you guys hear the game audio? Let me know how this sounds. It's this weird Japanese young girl themes that really is annoying. That's an anime tradition, I guess. So hopefully, are you guys hearing the audio okay from the game? it's pretty loud. Sorry about that. That is the only problem with switching between a bunch of games. I have no idea how like My Life in Gaming does it on their streams. They'll switch between like 10 different like real hardware captures, no problem. The audio is always perfect. The videos always stretch perfectly. Like, and I struggle to do like one or two. I guess that comes with time and experience. Okay, that was stupid. And I'm pretty sure there's all this slowdown in the game, but there is no way that that is hardware slowdown. That's like intentionally there. I'm guessing it's there on the arcade version. Like Gemmmms here or something. Definitely as you power up, I guess it is more important to switch between your shot styles, obviously. Come on. No one credit clear today, that's for sure. Let's see. Audio okay? Hopefully. If you love shooters, like I always say, my #1 shooter consoles, and there are shooters on every console. Let's be clear about that, even Nintendo, NES. But if you love shooters, you really should have an Xbox 360 and a PC Engine CD. But honestly, the Genesis has a ton of really awesome shooters too, so you can get a Genesis. You already have a Genesis though. And I mean, even though like people don't talk about Super Nintendo shooters, Super Nintendo has quite a few shooters. They don't look or sound as good to me. They don't, but I mean, I'm going for the arcade look. If you like the Super Nintendo look, play Super Nintendo shooters. There's some awesome ones on there. But a 360, if you love shooters, should be your #1 concern, tracking it down. 360, PS1, Sega Saturn, Genesis, PC Engine CD, obviously #1. Dreamcast does have awesome shooters, just doesn't have a ton of them. Like 360 has a ton of them. Dreamcast has incredible shooters. Yeah. Genesis has Truxton. Although I wonder how that compares to the arcade board. It's a great game. I played it a lot on my Nomad. I just wonder if I'm going to play it seriously, if I would maybe load up MAME on my computer and, you know, barring winning the lottery and buying the arcade board or the cab or whatever. You can see the spread shot's kind of weak, but it clears when there's a lot of enemies on the screen. And you get way more control when you're using your focus attack, so you want to use that, whoops, wrong button. Use your focus attack when there's a lot of bullets on the screen for sure. And let off it to move around faster. I don't like it when they corner me like that. I can get out of those, but... nope. It is kind of mind-bending once you really get into the zone. See, like this slowdown, it has to be intentional. the 360 can handle 2D sprites. It has no problem with them. I think that bugs. Lots of bugs in this game too. Cave shooters in general. Damn, did it again. Cave shooters in general are really pretty. Almost without exception, really. But this one, Mushihimesama and Mushihimesama Futari are both really good looking. Even if they're not people's favorite. Or maybe they are, I don't really know. Yeah, Truxton has great music. Oh man. Cat is still going crazy up there. But yeah, is that enough of Mushihimesama Futari? I just wanted to show this off because the cave shooters are where it's at on the 360, really. I have played only in emulation Good Maki 68,000. I have a lot of arcade PCBs that are based on X68000, but I've never played the actual console. I might even have... Do I have an... Let's see, is that one of the emulators I kept on here? Yeah, I have the Sharp 68,000 emulator on here. Probably not going to be using that, but it's there, you know. Could play some Scapegoat. I don't know if I'm going to play any more games here, actually. Let me just... I did want to maybe play... I haven't played Crimson Skies in so long, though, that I don't know how easy it is to just pick up and jump into, but... Let's show an original Xbox game running on the 360, and you can see how nicely it upscales it and everything. And even like Crimson Skies has DLC, like 360 Xbox Live Arcade DLC and stuff, and title updates that you could get through the store. So it's pretty cool. You know, it's an upgrade to one of the greatest games ever made. Yeah, I think I missed the boat on X68000. They're getting up there in price. Is the audio okay? I can't even tell anymore.
The new nations turn to the sky.
You don't need to hear that, anyways. There's a story, but I mean, you're, you know, Indiana Jones in the sky, basically, in this game. And, I mean, to me, in the perfect world, we would get Crimson Skies VR one day, like a virtual reality. Or maybe, like, if you go to modern arcades and they have pods, you know, like, there's a Star Wars game and there's a few games, actually, where you go into a pod and there's a wraparound 360-degree screen, and then you have your all your pilot's gear and controls and everything. It's an awesome arcade game. Man, I would kill for a Crimson Skies, like, pod arcade game. How cool would that be? Not gonna happen, but would be cool. If you haven't played Crimson Skies, drop everything right now and try to track it down, either on the OG Xbox 360, or now, best of all, the Xbox One. It has, like, totally, you know, it's re-rendering all the graphics in HD, a better frame rate, and all that stuff. So, man, between that and Red Dead Redemption 2, I've got to get an Xbox One. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't want it, but I gotta get it. And then there's Primal Rage. Not for the Primal Rage game, but for the Primal Rage arcade games that are both included with it. The original, decent ports, you know, as good as you can do at 60 hertz. So Bradley is asking if I have any Sentinel Supergun information when it's coming out. I don't know, but it's very soon at this point, because Frank's done all the prototyping now, and he has the final PCBs. He just did a big reveal yesterday that was pretty exciting last night. Actually, after Beast posted about using the Pico PSU with the Sentinel for a super small compact setup. And then a bunch of us were getting excited, and then Frank did a reveal showing that he really stepped up the quality even higher. So he's doing a 4-layer PCB, thicker traces and everything on them than they were before, thicker copper, which is good for arcade stuff. It's very power hungry. And then my favorite new feature that most people are going to be like, well, who cares, is a triple, I'm pouring more tea here, that's what's going on, has a triple pot for controlling RG and B simultaneously instead of individually. So you basically, with arcade equipment, use that as a brightness adjustment. So you definitely need to tweak that whenever you switch from one PCB to a Neo Geo MVS, for example, or like Beast was showing off one of his Tetrises was a little bit dim, and to fix that, it's because the actual cab would have had, you know, less resistance in there or whatever. They would have different levels, so you can just tweak that using a triple pot now, not having to do each RG and B individually. So that's a really cool feature, because like when I built my own Supergun, I bought one of those triple pots and I paid like $15 for that one part for it. They're hard to find. It's kind of a mechanical kind of big contraption. So that's pretty cool. It's like Frank's throwing down some higher quality stuff for us. He's throwing away a little bit of his profits every time that he upgrades the hardware on it for us like that, because it's going to keep the same price, I assume. But yeah, that's my Sentinel news. That's what I got. Very exciting time for arcade aficionados. Not just because of the Sentinel and the HAS, Home Arcade System, is about to go into production. If you guys need to pre-order it, go jump on the Arcade Projects forum or at Shmups, there's a thread, and put a word in if you want to order it. But, you know, through the grapevine, we've heard little rumblings about GameTechUS looking into Superguns, and then Voultar saying that he's in talks with someone about Supergun video levels and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's not Frank or RGB who does the HAS, so it's a third party. So if that's a team up, if it's a GameTechUS Voultar team up for Supergun, like, we have good times ahead. Like, seriously, that'll be cool. But for now, even just with HAS and the Sentinel, it's good times. So mechanically synchronized potentiometer array, Fartwith said. Yes, that's what it's called. I call it a triple pot. But just got Crimson Skies playing here to show you how nice it looked. Original Xbox games, as long as they're backwards compatible, look beautiful on the 360. In fact, on a modern TV, without jumping through some hoops, they're going to look better than your original Xbox. You can jump through those hoops, and you can get the original Xbox looking better, obviously. Especially if you have, like, OSSC, you have the VGA cables, and VGA modded original Xbox, you can do it. But if you don't jump through all those hoops, like I can't here in Brazil because I don't have all that junk with me, 360 does a really good job. Yeah, I mean, there's actually room in my life for 4 or 5 Superguns, as I said. So I have the HAS already. I'm gonna have the Sentinel. I'll buy it or I'll demo it. No matter what I have to do, I'll get one. And then if GameTechUS is making a Supergun, I'll buy that day one. I don't even have to care. I mean, I don't have to hear about it. I'll buy it because I know that he does things right. Jason knows how to do it. I knew him back before GameTechUS was a big deal. He modded my NES top loader for me back before all this crazy RGB nonsense you can do nowadays, which I'm jealous of. Let me just pull up the intro for another game that I talked about. I can't remember which one of these two I liked better. I think I'll do Outrun Online Arcade. It's an Xbox Live Arcade game. And we'll just let that play while I chat with you guys here. Yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, I like the fact that the 360 and the Xbox One are backwards compatible, but if I honestly had my choice in a perfect world, I'd be playing Crimson Skies on the original Xbox with an OSSC. Because why emulate it when you can play the real hardware, right? I can't say I love Xbox One because I haven't tried it, and I was really not on board with it whatsoever. But I am kind of obligated to get it with the fact that it has Red Dead Redemption 2, as I've said a few times here. What can you do? I know myself. The same with the Switch. Really didn't want to get it. I was really not on board with it, and I'm gonna get one. Just if nothing else for Golf Story and Breath of the Wild. And then there's actually a ton of stuff now on the Switch that interests me. This is Outrun 2. AM2, Sega AM2 group did all their awesome arcade games. Not all of them. They did tons of awesome arcade games for Sega. So we'll just let this play. But yeah. How cool is it though if you have I love that if you have a big collection of OG Xbox games like we all did, because that's what I played when I got my bachelor's. I mean, I went to college like 3 times now. I went to college, I got my associates, then I took a break to save up money and pay off my debts. And then I went back, I got my bachelor's, then I had to pay off the debts. Then I got my master's, and now I'm paying for that forever, for the rest of my life. But back in whenever, when I was working on my bachelor's, Xbox was the big deal. So I had all those games, and a lot of them, the majority of them are backwards compatible with the 360. And it really felt like, before I knew any better, it felt like they were getting a big upgrade playing them on the 360 too. So hopefully, the only thing is that this looks really good on my monitor, and I don't know if I have the upload bandwidth to make this look so good. Hopefully it looks so good in the it looks as good in the capture. But if it looks kind of pixely or crappy in the capture, trust me, that's the capture. It looks fantastic on a HD TV. Wii U looks awesome. Simbin, modern vintage gamer, just did a video that has me really interested in the Wii U because I'm a latecomer to the Wii, and I'm a huge fan of the Wii. Now, wasn't back in the day, of course. Again, I mean, you have your biases, and you have to learn to overcome them. Like, I thought the Wii was the stupidest thing on earth when it came out. And now it's one of my top consoles. I really like it. Has lots of really good Sega arcade ports and things. It just has a lot of really good stuff on it. And I'll admit, I was totally wrong about it. Just like I was wrong about the Switch when I thought it was going to be just some stupid little thing. And it turned out to be a really serious platform. And the Wii U looks like something that's right up my alley, a modified one. You have all 3 Burger King games. Reed Solomon. Nice. Ooh, Wii U's are expensive. I actually haven't checked the prices out. I can buy one, like, tonight, really. Just to have it. To have and to hold. Yeah, you could... I mean, if you go to Goodwill's, you could build a house out of OG Xbox. At least you used to be able to. Maybe not so much anymore. But, man... I have 2 of them. I had to cut myself off of OG Xboxes and PlayStation 1s and PlayStation 2s. Like, I used to buy them anytime I saw them at Goodwill's. I don't know, I must have 4 or 5 PS1s. I have 2 or 3 PS2s, and it's just like, why do you need them? But when you see them there, like my last PS2 I got was $3.99, and it was the one with the RCA jacks on the back and everything, which was the first time I bought one of those. So, like, how can you pass that up? Like, I can't just let it sit there and get all scratched up and stuff, so I brought them home. But I cut myself off. Stop buying the Goodwill gaming stuff. You could also, at some Goodwills, build a house out of the Wii scale thing. What was that called? The thing you stepped on, and you could use it for a few games. They have, like, stacks and stacks of those. Yeah, I brought my Wii to Brazil with me. I like it that much. It made the cut. I've got a 500 gigabyte external hard drive hooked up to it. I modified it myself, and soft modded it. And yeah, it has a crazy good library. I'm eating my words about the Wii, even though I never really talked about it, but in my mind, the Wii seemed like a gimmicky kind of thing because of the motion controls. Wii Fitness, thank you, Brian Frober. And let me pull up, I know what I'm going to pull up next. Why is it that all the games that I'm really showcasing are OG Xbox games? Let's start that process. I'll put Afterburner Climax on. This is an actual Xbox 360 game. Another Sega Arcade style game. Incredible. AM2, just like I was saying earlier. You can see, like, if you love that crisp late 90s, early 2000s Sega Arcade 3D look, which I love. I'm sure you love it too. That's what the 360 is to me. Really nice colors, really sharp and crisp. Most things are running at 60 frames per second. A few things are at 30, but yeah, I mean, this is gorgeous, isn't it? If it was a simulator, it might be a different story. If you're into simulators, this isn't going to be your game. But if you're into just arcade-style games where you can just pick up and go, that's what I'm talking about. Like Afterburner, Outrun, Panzer Dragoon, Aurora, that kind of game. Alright, catch you later, Matt. Yeah, go to the... if you want to mod, go to the Team Executor. That's my honest advice to you. Team Executor forum, set up a username there, and go into their like trusted modder directory and start looking at some pictures. You'll see right away the people willing to post pictures. Some of them are doing, like the guy I picked, I paid extra for it, like I would always do. Just like you would pay extra to go with Voultar. You get what you pay for. And this guy did all sorts of like beautiful... he used ribbon cable, and it's all very nicely organized, wrapped around the PCB. Everything starts and finishes exactly where it's going, just kind of like Voultar does. Really nice work, and that's what you want to pay a little bit extra for if you can. Don't go cheap on it. You get your money's worth in the first 2 hours of using it, and just pay the extra tiny little bit. You can even, like, when you get it modded, like I said, to include your own 2.5-inch hard drive of some sort, so that the modder does, because you want to make it as easy as you can for the modder too, because then they can focus on doing a better job on the parts that matter, like installing the chip. But you can include some Arctic silver and ask them to, because they're going to be taking off, they're going to be in there anyways, they might as well replace the thermal compound on the graphics and memory heat sinks that are in there. Just give it to them. Also, I would recommend having them ask them to set the fan to full power. They'll know what that means, so that it's permanently at 100%. Tiny bit louder, but that's really what it needs. It should never be running less than 100% in a 360, especially if you're gonna put it in like on a shelf or something. You want that thing running full speed all the time. I put a silent fan in mine. What is it? It was expensive. I spent like 15 or 20 bucks on this fan, installed that myself, and I modified it very nicely to run off the 12-volt line. So just have them do all that for you. Oh man. Okay, thanks. Bye has a 360 kiosk. Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah, pay attention. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I've been through 3 360s, 2 of which Red Ring of Death. Both of those were modified. The second one, a Noctua. Yeah, that's what I put in, Brian. Noctua fan. The second one, it was all set up and very nice and everything, and then it red ringed. And that was at the point when I really looked into it, and that was when the Slims were actually new. And people are like, oh, the Slim is the ultimate, and they're really right about that. Like, the temperatures, as you can see, they stay nice and low on a Slim. They're not approaching anything dangerous. In fact, this is like lukewarm by 360 standards. And this is about as hot as it gets. And it'll get a lot cooler than that, too. So that's what you get when you replace the thermal compound and put a a fan on there of any kind and just set it to 100%. But since it's going to be 100%, you might as well get a silent fan like a Noctua. Just cash out. I mean, the 360 deserves all this. It deserves the treatment, you know. Skip one crappy fast food meal and just put a little bit more money into your 360 and it'll pay you back tenfold. Yeah, I would love to have any kiosk. The kiosks are really cool. I don't know where people find those things. Like Craigslist or something. Someone had a video on the Sega Genesis. Who was it? Modern Vintage? No, I can't remember what channel that was. There's a new video out about the Sega Genesis kiosk. It's pretty cool. And about the Sega Genesis multi-game switcher that never came to be that we used to see back in the day in magazine. So, yeah, I mean, the 360, it's a lot of ground to cover in one video, and I'll come back to this hopefully in the future. Look at that. That's how you do it in a track mode, man. Treat yourself. Skip buying one modern game, one special edition limited run game, and buy yourself instead a fully modded Xbox 360 and treat it to the best hard drive you can get in there, the highest quality mod that you can buy, someone who's shown their work, and you are in for a real treat. I'm telling you, it's incredible. If you do, even, I know a lot of people like to talk bad on those late model Trinitrons with HD. But man, I have never seen a 360 look better than on a XBR 960 that my friend Saburi has, and what that means to me is that on a BVM, like what RetroRGB has, this thing must look glorious. I mean, it's so crisp and so just beautiful to look at. And they really, like, I like things fully saturated, if you can't tell. And man, these games, it's like the colors are perfect. It's like the perfect cheery console. Talking about the arcade games, at least. There's some grittier kind of stuff, but yeah. Let me find something else to boot into. Here's Burger Time World Tour. I haven't really played that, but I made that cover. Trying to think of games that just epitomize the OG Xbox and the 360 to me. Well, I talked about Darkstalkers earlier, and since I haven't shown any fighters, I'll come to the Street Fighter 3 next. Really nice port. Home port of a CPS3 game. Yeah, you gotta go in and right away with your OG Xbox clip out that capacitor. I lucked out. Both of mine were okay, but I've seen just horror pictures online of people's who weren't okay. If you guys don't know, the OG Xbox, they used the wrong rated capacitor for the clock, basically. And it's just a bad design, and there's really no way around it, and you don't need the clock for anything anyways, so you can just remove the capacitor before. It's a ticking time bomb is what it is, and you have to get it out of there, because once it goes off, it's a big mess to clean up. And especially if you let it go a while, it will, that capacitor, what do you call it, the fluid in the capacitor eats right away at the whole board, right in a kind of a messy spot, so get that out of there. And while you're in there, speaking of Arctic Silver, replace the thermal compound on your GPU and CPU on your OG Xbox, and throw a silent fan in there too if you're crazy, like I did. My OG Xboxes were treated like kings, because it happened back when OG Xbox was still relatively new, is when I was doing my modding. So I've got chips in both of mine. The biggest IDE hard drives that you can get, I think, was like 500 gigabytes back then. And one day I'll switch to SSD or something, but it's got silent fans, replace the thermal compound, lots of other stuff. I recapped one of them even. Oh yeah, so this doesn't have much of an track mode. Let me get into Street Fighter 3. And you can see how easy it is to get around here. I think that's pretty cool too. But when I've seen like modded PS3s and things, I just feel it just doesn't feel as, nothing feels as good as a modded 360 in terms of, with Aurora on it, I mean. Just jumping straight to your games list, I love that. Yeah, the V1.6, you don't have to worry about the clock cap. But I have, like, both of mine are like version, what is it, 1.0 or 1.1. And they have a bigger heatsink, and they're different video encoder. Let's go to Street Fighter 3. And I'll show off Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 too next after that. Because I wanted to talk about awesome ports. Oh, there's so many on the 360. There's so many horrible ports too, don't get me wrong. For every one of these great ports, there's 10, 20, 30 horrible ports. But, oops, forgot my T here. This is going to be a strong one. I don't know if we have any arcade fight scene guys in the chat. Beast or any of those guys. But this is one they play on real hardware there. They had a CPS3 at iFix Machine Arcade in Brooklyn. I visited there with Retro RGB and the gang, the NYC gang, and they have a CPS3 Darksoft kit. Oh, nice, Brian. I suck at fighters. I love them. But I thought I was good, and then I met my wife, and the first thing that we really did together was we played an arcade here in Brazil, where she was like the king of Street Fighter 2, like just plain old Street Fighter 2. And she's really good with Chun-Li, and I'm not good with anyone. Let's see, if I switch into arcade mode, can I just let this thing play, or do I have to actually suck in front of you? I'm not going to do that, so... But you can see how good this looks. Do I need to disable some filtering here, it looks like? Or is that only before the game starts? Right now I can see some heavy filtering, yeah. So you can see I've got the filtering turned off. And you see how fluid and nice that looks? I don't even know who I picked here, so... There's some guy who looks like Ryu over there. That's not right, though. Sean? Street Fighter 3 is kind of one of the weird Street Fighters that's a fan favorite. Brazilian Cafe, alright, coffee. So we must be in Blanca stage here or something. But look how good that looks once you got the filtering off. And you do have to do that again for Street Fighter 3. Look, filter, none. You go crisp or any of those, it's not good. So, none. And actually, oh, we can put that in normal. That should be on. And then you could adjust the screen further even. Because these games didn't know, this was a time when it was between 720p and 1080, so a lot of them assume that you have a 1080 or a 720p screen. Yeah, here I've got the aspect ratio fixed now. Good, Maki. So yeah, you want to set up the screen to 1080p. But look, I mean, honestly, how many arcade ports do you see where the pixels are so clearly defined and everything is just integer scaled up like that? But then on the parts where it doesn't matter so much, like the heads-up display, they have it upscaled, and the filtering there, of course, doesn't really bother me because it's the gameplay that you focus on. So it's kind of cool. This would be a killer game to watch online tournaments for. Oh, Sean is a Brazilian Ryu. That's pretty cool. A disciple of Ken, okay. I'm just gonna let him kick my butt here. But yeah, awesome port of this one. Okay, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate. I'll let my covers load here so you can see it. The one I made for it. There we go. There's the back. Just straight off, I think off the arcade cabinet is where I got this from. Yeah, and I bet that this one's not on the Xbox One either, is it? Because it's good. Like, if it's good, it doesn't make it to the next generation. It just disappears and they get rid of it. But, like, Bob, Retro RGB has the actual arcade board of this. So let's see in here. I don't know if I have this set up yet. Blood on Violence, okay. Arcade game. Ooh, I see some filtering going on here. That's not good. Let's see if I can get to some options. Okay, options. Screen size. Fix aspect ratio. Okay, that's cool. Oh man. There is no filter control, is there? I'm gonna have to take back what I said about this. Maybe I was playing it through the actual Mortal Kombat Kollection. Let's boot it up through there and see how that is. Yeah, it had the Vaseline filter going there. You can't actually, again, they got rid of, through Xbox Live Arcade, they got rid of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and the only way to get it was through this arcade collection later, I believe. That's the other thing, is that your load times are really fast. Here we go, see? That's what I was thinking of. You can turn off the filtering if you get the arcade version. So that's what I was thinking of. And oh, it has some scanline effect. Ooh, I don't like this. Oh, display standard. Okay. Okay, so maybe this is okay. Let's see. No, oh, that's horrible. Don't like that. Let's go arcade mode. Maybe if I put it on arcade, that will give me scanline. No, I see filtering underneath the scanlines. Like, what? Why? Okay, well, that's a shame. It's a real shame. Alright, sorry. Mortal Kombat, you're dead to me. So, I'll put on one that I know is good. Sonic CD. Ported, like I said, by the same guy who did Sonic Mania. This is how you do a port. Let's see, maybe I'm going to be wrong about this one, too. Christian Whitehead. I mean, seriously. Yeah, the only problem is that Sonic CD might not be your favorite Sonic game. So, let me turn the filters off. Maybe my memory is just bad. Okay, this is... Ugh, this is horrible. This is like what nightmares are made of. Okay, so there we go. Nostalgia mode. And look at that. Crisp. Pixel perfect. Very nice looking. The aspect ratio, it looks perfectly good to me. But yeah. This is how you port a game. Even if the menus look a little bit filtered. But let's just see if I can get the Sonic CD intro to play. Or did I just exit out of the whole game? Let me show off another one that I built up pretty big here for you guys. X-Men, the arcade game. Beautiful. Extinct. This game's extinct. It's not ported to the arcade game's not ported to any other console. And even one day when it is, it's not going to look this good. This is like pixel sharp. I actually like how they ported this one. Usually I just want my arcade ports to be straight up arcade ports, exactly the same. But this one they actually moved around, they allow you to move around the heads-up display, which works a little better for 4-player mode and for like 1080p screen. So that's fine with me, as long as the core gameplay is the same. And I'll just let this go here. This, when I finally got my X-Men PCB fixed and I got the audio working, listening to the, and then I got it set up for stereo, watching this intro really affected me. It was really satisfying. It's a great intro. It sounds great, especially from that era. Yeah. Ooh, that's not pretty. That's like, again, that's like a nightmare. So you can pick, this is kind of cool too. You want your 4-player, 6-player cabinet. You can pick which region you're in, your difficulty. You can pick your stage too. That's kind of cool. Oh, because I've gotten to the jungle stage so far. So I wish I could just let a track mode play. So this part, you're probably like, oh, this looks filtered and horrible. But wait till I get into the actual game. Actually, smoothing off, screen size. Can I not do an integer scale? Actually, I'm seeing a lot of filtering there. Let's see. Maybe my memory is just totally gone. Someone tell me what I'm missing here, because why is there a filter applied? I remember this having no filter whatsoever. Okay. Well, proved myself wrong again here. Let's boot into Turtles. I might have to rethink what I'm saying about these games. Turtles, 1989. I've got this arcade PCB also, and I have Turtles 2, Turtles in Time. Okay, this one's looking a lot better. Right off the bat. Yeah, look at that. It's not smoothed. Digital Eclipse. Is that who My Life in Gaming was talking about being really good at porting things? Can't remember. Let's just load up the arcade game here. I do not like these character art at all, but it's fine. Yeah, so look at that. Stupid background, but let's see if I can turn that off. Screen size. So you can make it, yeah, and then you hit Y and it fits your screen. I wish I could turn off that stupid, we gotta get April out. So look at that. Look at that. That's how you port a game. Man, that's just as good as my actual arcade PCB, you know, running through something like an OSSC. But, I mean, if you were into your online, you know, stupid scoreboards and things like that, or if you just want an easy take with you kind of thing, I can't just pick up my arcade PCBs and take them with. They're very expensive, and it's very big, and lots of parts involved, so it's much better to, you know, have it on your 360. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Look at that. That's how you port a game. And again, I know all of you probably love your Nintendo Turtles 2, the arcade game, but if you're going to be playing Turtles, you should be playing the actual arcade game. Unfortunately, that's harder. That's easier said than done. Let's see. Easier said than done because you basically need to set up MAME if you want to play this game. Honestly, this is the only home port of it that you ever got. So, yeah. And that's why when I was talking about, I was making a case for emulation a few streams back. How do I put my quarters in? I was making a case for emulation a few streams back, and this is one of the great examples of why emulation is important. Because if you want to play the Turtles arcade game, your only choice is either modify your 360 and play a home port of it, to buy the ultra expensive and ultra confusing, you know, arcade equipment, which I actually have, as I said. I actually have 2 copies of Team NT1. I bought them both broken, have them both fixed. Or you can emulate it, and emulation is gonna actually, a well set up emulator is gonna be obviously better than this version actually on a powerful computer. But just for a pick up and go kind of thing, this is as good as it's gonna get. Oh yeah, A and B together. Anyways, I mean, you've seen this a million times. You can play this game in your head, probably. Just a shame. A shame that this game went extinct. And finally, no, we won't load up The Simpsons, actually. Even, damn, is that Turtles gonna get me a copyright? What do you call it? Not flag. Content ID match? Let's hope not. Oh, did DOS have a port? Yeah, so this is the quick way to get through your games. Oh, here's one. Sega, of course. There's a lot of games that try to be funny and they don't end up being funny, but Bayonetta is one that's actually pretty funny. Kind of in an Austin Powers-y kind of way to me. I don't know why. You guys maybe have picked up that I am a big Austin Powers fan. Even though I don't really like the way its depiction of little people. Kind of bothers me, but besides that, it's okay. Anyways, one thing I forgot to talk about that I love about the 360, I did talk a little bit about the arcade racers that are on it. There's so many great arcade racers. But the Xbox 360 racing wheel, just the vanilla Microsoft one, you can get it super cheap. At least you used to be able to on Craigslist. I think I paid $20 for mine. And I've really only had it out when my nephew came to visit, and he loved it. But the 360 racing wheel has force feedback. And my father-in-law here, when I brought my first Xbox 360 Brazil, I brought the racing wheel. Ended up giving that to my uncle-in-law. Uncle? I don't know what you call that. Gave it away when I moved back to USA to work on my master's. I lived here for 3 years, moved back to USA, got my master's, and I moved back to Brazil. But the racing wheel, Xbox 360, the Microsoft one, has force feedback, so it really is good for giving you an arcadey experience if you can stomach being seen using a steering wheel when you're a full-grown adult. If you can handle that, if you can pull that look off, grab the Microsoft racing wheel. And a lot of these games, a lot of the 3D racers are compatible with that. So I think Blur is, a few others. So you can't talk about the 360 without talking about how incredible the racers are on it. And especially cool. Whoops, that doesn't work. See that? Sometimes it doesn't burn your discs. You can copy, you just put your disc in an Aurora and you can rip it straight to the hard drive, but sometimes you gotta go to the internet to get that right, because my disc was obviously not correct there. So, like I said, this is my second modern Xbox 360. My last one was RGH modded 2, but it was an old school Xbox 360, and it red ring of death after I spent all that time setting it up. So this is my newer one, which I got set up in 2015. So I've only had it 3 years, and I'm not really settled in all the way with it yet, you could say, like I was with my old one. Oh, Hydro Thunder's on here. Speaking of awesome games. Should I do... Okay, so I talked about Need for Speed. I don't know. The cutscenes and the dialogue is so bad on Need for Speed. But there is a good game underneath all of that. You just have to trust me about that. Let's let Knights play. Yeah, but the Xbox 360 racing wheel, if you want a cool wheel, grab that. Hopefully cheap. Don't pay money for it. I mean, get it for 20-30 bucks on Craigslist is what I'm saying. And yeah, I have a racing wheel. I actually dumped all my I had PS2 and Dreamcast racing wheels, and I dropped those off at a Goodwill when I moved the last time because those didn't make it to the storage unit. But I did keep my 361 is in storage, and I kept my Saturn racing wheel. So this is a big deal when Knights happened on the 360. I don't know if you guys remember that. But it's a port of Knights by the people who worked on Knights for the Saturn back in the day. The same team. Sonic Team, I think, right? And so you can say this is sort of a true port, right? But if you were into the Saturn back in the day, which I wasn't, but I knew of the Saturn. I mean, I never saw one in real life, but this is the game that you knew about for whatever reason because of the marketing, but the colors and everything about it are just beautiful. And it's one of the first games you play when you get a Saturn and you get the 3D controller. You get Knights, and you play the hell out of it. And here it is, running a port of it on the Xbox 360. Did the Xbox One get this? I assume it didn't. Maybe it did. Other cool Xbox 360 peripherals. I really like... I have the Mad Catz. I have 2 of the light guns. They used to be able to get them dirt cheap. I don't know anymore. I think I paid like $5 for mine. And there's a really good House of the Dead 3 is on the Xbox 360. And then you can unlock House of the Dead 2 and 1 maybe, is that right? If you set your Saturn's clock to Christmas Eve, I believe, you get Christmas nights into dreams. Is that right? Is that how that worked, or was that a separate demo or something? I can't remember. Anyways, this is FMV. Probably boring you guys with it. We don't need to watch FMV cutscenes here, do we? Aid ports. Oh, I was just talking about how I don't like FMV, but man, Dragon's Lair. I can't remember. Is this a port of the arcade game, or is this the stupid 3D one? Let's see. Oh no, this is the actual arcade Laserdisc version, I believe, is what they used to port this one. So I think there's two Dragon Slayers. One is like a 3D game. I'm not going to play this, but we'll just see if it just lets in a track play. One is a crappy 3D game that some people like, and the other is the actual Laserdisc arcade game. They went and ported it all over. I mean, it's like Saturday morning cartoons, basically. Let's see once I die if it'll just keep playing. You have to go real old school. I think for the Xbox 360 I have a VGA cable, component cables. I have the official Microsoft SCART cable, which for the 360, it's like the nicest cable I've ever bought, like the nicest OEM cable. Man, the OEM SCART cable for the 360 is a thing of beauty. It's really heavy. I opened it up. It's all individually shielded and grounded on both ends. Like I would open it up just to see how it worked. Incredible. I think I had to resolder one wire to get it to default to 240p mode, or maybe I'm pretty sure I had to do that. Anyways, so let's jump down to shooters. That's what I like to do to organize in here. I don't do the favorites thing. You can organize things by favorites, but to do that, you're using your controller mostly. So I like to actually rename the games to like shooter. Put shooter in front of it, and then all of a sudden they show up together in the menu. So that's my weird way of doing it. Oh, beautiful game, Akai Katana. I really like. I know that Death Smiles aren't people's favorite games in the world. I really like them. Maybe it's because they're slightly easier for me to play. They're horizontal scrolling shooters. Let's see if they have a cool track mode. Beautiful games. And that brings me to another point about the modified Xbox 360. You are not region locked, obviously, as you can tell here, so there's no more tracking down a Japanese Xbox 360 to play your Japanese games. So even if you have a big collection of Japanese Xbox 360 games on discs, like I have a few of them, I don't have a huge collection, but you can't just pop those in your American console. It's region locked, but you can pop them, play them right off the disc on your modded 360. So that's a big deal for people because, you know, a Japanese Xbox 360 isn't that expensive, but getting it shipped here from Japan to wherever you are is expensive. Typing of the Dead. I love Typing of the Dead. Oh. Hopefully I have the filters off here already. Like I said, for every cave game, you're going to have to go in and dink around a little bit first to figure out how to get all the filtering off and to get your integer scaling set up for your 1080p screen. But if that's a one-time thing, you only do it once and it saves it into the profile, so you're set. Hopefully I've done that already here for Death Smiles. Let's just see. I streamed Death Smiles 1 the other day. Only thing about Japanese games is you have to remember that your buttons are usually backwards. Let's see. Sometimes also you have to load up the cave game because it'll actually like boot into the arcade port when you go like arcade mode. It does look like there's definitely smoothing going on here. So a lot of them, to get to the actual game controls, you have to wait until it's darn. Man, okay. Well, I know for sure that the original Death Smiles, you can turn off all that crap. Do you see it said applying title updates? It automatically, once you download the title updates, it automatically applies them when you boot the game. Okay, so this is nice and crispy clean. Let's go play. You know, there's all these different... You have to look up online what the different versions of the PCB are. I'll play arranged here. Just 'cause I don't know what the difference is right now. I need to look it up. I usually don't want to play arranged mode, but it's fine. And you can see there is just no hint of filtering whatsoever. And that's because in this game you can go into the screen and turn the smoothing off. And that's not... Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. So it does an integer scale there if you use zoom. And what the heck, I'll just jump into this and play a little bit of it. Again, I don't know what the difference are between these characters. Okay, I gotta get used to the different buttons here. Switching over from Mushihimesama Futari that I was playing earlier. And I am just gonna play the first level of this because I streamed this for like an hour and a half a few weeks ago. Let's see, okay. So, B is to shoot right, A is to shoot left, and Y is your bomb. Gorgeous game here. I don't know, people, it seems like people prefer either vertical or horizontal shooters. To me, it just depends on the game. And this is, it's not my favorite game in the world, but it's a pretty one to show off, that's for sure. Really beautiful. As always, by Cave. Sprites. And just zany, you know? Pink bullets. Again, always appreciate pink bullets. And let me know about the audio levels. Hopefully this isn't like blaring. Oh my gosh, I haven't even checked. Is that okay? Hopefully. You can blow up some of the scenery in this game too. Anyways, this is where it's at for the 360 when you're talking about arcade ports of shoot 'em ups. Cave stuff, man. It's pretty. It's pretty, pretty, pretty. And these arcade PCBs, they are outrageous now. Cave stuff, man, only the ultra rich could afford these. Even your standard rich person shouldn't be spending like $2,000, $3,000 on one arcade PCB. I mean, that's like, that's insulting to humanity. That's a lot of money. Maybe if you bought these early on or something, that's fine. I know a lot of people want a Cave multi, but like the cheapest Cave game you can buy now is like $500, right? So like a multi wouldn't do people like me any good, because you're talking $500 for the PCB, and then probably $500 or $600 for a kit, I'm guessing. So man, not gonna be paying that. I'm just gonna be stuck with the 360, and I'm totally okay with that. It's not gonna look if you're setting up in an arcade cab, it's gonna be a bit of tinkering before you get it looking right. And some arcades, just because of the monitor, you're never gonna get it being perfect, right? I should I mean, there's quirky stuff on here that really got absolutely no attention when it came out, because like the retro gaming thing, the 2D thing, it seems like it's really come into fold now, like in the last few years. The Shovel Knight is the one that really pushed them. But there were people doing that kind of stuff. Obviously, it never stopped, really, going all the way back. And you have really good 2D stuff on your 360, just like you had good 2D stuff on your original Xbox. Terraria. Let's see if it has an attract mode. Hey, Castlemania Games is here. Welcome to the stream. Some royalty in the house. More royalty. You're all royalty. So Terraria, I mean, this is on a lot of different platforms, so this is not a 360 exclusive by any means. I think I have this on the Vita, maybe on the PSP too. Let's just see. Hopefully it has some sort of sequence that it plays here. Trying to draw a little attention here to the 2D masterpieces, or the great 2D games that came and went and were forgotten on the Xbox 360. Just like, to me, there were a lot of 2D games that came and went on the original, on the PS1, and I never heard about them. Because 3D was all the rage when I was younger back then, when the PS1 was out. I didn't have a PS1, my friends did. And 2D was like out of style where I was, so my friends weren't playing 2D games at that point. And nowadays, looking back on the PS1 backlot on the library, it's incredible. And the 360 has a big library of 2D games too. Really, the same can be said of the PS2 as well. Tons of awesome arcade ports. That's another one. As soon as I get my adapter in, I'll be capturing. I can take you on a tour of my hard drive modded PS2. That would be a lot of fun too. I definitely am trying to make a hard sell here to you guys about the 360 if you don't have one. Modded 360, that is. If you just have a 360 laying around, I don't know what to tell you. If it's a Slim, get it modded. If it's not a Slim, use it to hold, use it as a paperweight or something, and go get a Slim and then get your Slim modded. A Slim should really only run on Craigslist. It should run you like 20 bucks, honestly. I would pay $50 for one. And I was talking about how great there are great games on Xbox Live Indie Games, and I said there's a lot of shovelware too. Just like with your Switch library nowadays, talking about the downloadable library. Of course, the official Switch library is pretty freaking incredible. But here's an example of like an Xbox Live Indie game that just leaves you like, what? And there's a lot of them. Okay, I don't have a lot of them on here. I kept this one just because it's so like, what? This is a weird one. There's a lot of smut, really good smutty games on the indie games. It was famous for those, and there's some really funny YouTube videos where people show those off. But yeah, this is a game that I don't even know what it's called. It's some weird symbols. You couldn't find it in the store. It's hard to search for. The symbol is like that weird down thing and a triangle. There's no information whatsoever about it. Like the basis of the game is that you flick plants. Like it's like Monty Python's like, okay, I can plant these little things into the, oops, nope, I crushed them. So you can plant them, okay. Like if they have a sprout, you can plant them. Okay, and then he'll turn into a tree. And, oh, I don't want to crush them though. So I think maybe you're supposed to wait for them to sprout and then you're supposed to plant them all. I really spent like a half an hour trying to figure out what this game is. And, no, come here, come back this way. Because they'll drown if they, oops, you can pick them up too. So this really gives you an idea of what's out there on Xbox Live Indie Games. Stuff like this. So much of it. You can mod the OG Xbox 360. I'm just saying that the old 360s... Oh yeah, I have to water them. That's right. They're gonna Red Ring of Death. No matter what, pretty much. And so it's really, to me, if it's only 20 or 30 bucks to get an Xbox 360 Slim, not the Slim E, just the regular Slim, it's worth just getting that, and I wouldn't even bother modding an original Xbox 360 at this point. Even if you have one of the reliable ones and you have reballed it and done all of that, like you have a Corona or whatever, you're still, it's so much safer getting, yeah, so this is the whole game. You're so much safer getting a Slim S, not a Slim E. Alright, so there. Now I've shown the good and the bad of the Xbox Live Indie games. Although it gets a lot worse than that. And it gets a lot better than what I've shown too. You probably have an older RGH chip BK's retro gaming home is what I'm guessing. Like the CR3 and those older ones, they did take a lot longer to glitch. Like the CR4 XL, its thing is that it glitches fast. Yeah, get the one with the non-reading drive. Might as well mod that one. Or mod either one. I mod them all. It's not expensive to do, and it opens up this world of Xbox Live mini games. And a lot of now delisted Xbox Live, you know, and the entire Xbox Live mini games is delisted. You can't get those whatsoever. It's extinct. And then there's a lot of Xbox Live Arcade that's delisted now too, which is essentially extinct. If you own it, you can keep it. If you don't own it, you're out of luck. If it didn't make it to the Xbox One. Child of Light, it's pretty cool. This is a, it's got the Darksoft artwork on it. It's a CPS3 emulator. So actually, that would do a better job than the Street Fighter 3 I was showing earlier. Oh, Crazy Taxi's on here. Lots of Dreamcast ports, obviously, because there's a direct lineage from the Dreamcast to the Xbox 360. Daytona USA. I did this artwork too. It's one of the cooler ones I did, I think. It's just arcade. Just the arcade stuff. Since I'm here in Brazil, I'm gonna drink some cachaça, and maybe I'll show off a little bit of 360 hardware that I wanted to talk about while Daytona plays. So, I was talking about controllers, and I couldn't fish out my PDP Versus. I was saying that that was one of my #1 controllers of all time until I started playing with mushy controllers again, and I started getting better scores in shoot 'em ups. So obviously, something's up with the PDP Versus. Alright, I'm in southern Brazil. I've got some cachaça here. I went to this Alambique where they make this a few weeks ago in the mountains. It's really good stuff. And here's to you guys and to the Xbox 360. But you've got, basically with the 360, a few choices. Hori Gempad. It has a better D-pad on it than the 360, that's for sure. The sticks maybe aren't as great. It feels really good, it's really crisp, and you can get them brand new for pretty cheap. At least I paid like $7 for mine. Then you have your original Xbox 360 controller with what I used to say was the most horrendous D-pad of all time. It's definitely not, though. Once you get used to it, it's weirdly grows on you. And yeah, it's as mushy and unresponsive as you can get, but it's kind of like the tried and trusted little thing. Like, this just feels right. It's such a great controller. So there's your original plain Jane Xbox 360 controller. Actually, that's the one that came out with the S, I think. Then, oh, okay. Actually, here's one of my original 360 controllers, which I actually soldered on a different, had to replace. This one drifted so bad that I replaced the stick on it. So this is kind of customized. I put some metal sticks on there. This was my Tiger Woods controller. So you can see this one doesn't have any sort of cover on it. It's just metal, and I should have been playing Tiger Woods with this earlier because it's just it's not a great one if you're playing a shooter. It's not comfortable at all, but for Tiger Woods, it's like it has this edge on it, this machined aluminum edge. It's perfect for Tiger Woods. And then the other one over here, I've got a little silicone pad on because it doesn't feel great, you know. So this is just strictly for Tiger Woods, honestly. It's kind of weird. Then we should be getting better, but we're not. We're getting worse here. So the transforming D-pad, people talk about this as if it's a good thing online. And you have to take my advice. This is the mushiest, most disgusting, one of the most disgusting D-pads I've ever used. It's like, it's the regular 360 D-pad, but then it has all this weird balancy kind of stuff underneath it before it gets, so it's like putting more between you and the PCB, and ugh, this is horrible. It's god-awful. I would throw this in the trash, but I keep it around in case people, like, if you need 4-player controllers, that's what that one's for. Transforming D-pad. I've heard some people, you can put something under here and get it crispier. I'm not even going to worry about that. I hate this so much. So, I know some people like it. I'm not one of them. And I know from experience, and I got this one was brand new when I got it, so it's not like a bad example. It's good for Tiger Woods though, this one, because it doesn't drift at all. This one's like brand new. So there's some 360 controllers, and yeah, it's not a great situation with 360, honestly, with controllers. There's no real perfect solution, I can tell people. The PDP Versus is pretty good. It's good for shooters. I don't know. But then how do I explain the fact that I don't do so good with it compared to a mushy, crappy 360 controller? So really, the only solution is to get an arcade stick. And you, again, are spoiled for choice with arcade sticks for the 360. There's so many great sticks. And I have a whole bunch of them. I've shown this off in streams before, though. But some of my favorites are... I have a Quanba QANBA, I think I don't know, 3 or something, Q5. I can't remember which Q it is. But I totally replaced everything in it with good stuff. Seimitsu and Sanwa parts. And it's like, it looks like an Evil Ryu. It's all red. That's a cool one. I have a... Let's see, what's it called? Sorry, I'm trying to pull up my, I don't want to get the name wrong because it's one of my favorites. Video gaming. Xbox 3, so let's see. A Hori Real Arcade Pro RAP VX SA, so it looks like a Vuelix cab. And mine is dual modded for Xbox 360 and PS3. Man, that's an awesome controller. That's one of my favorite joysticks of all time. And those, you can probably pay a lot less for it now than when I got mine. I mean, I paid like 80 or 90 bucks for it, which seemed like a lot. But I bet it's really cheap now because nobody's into 360 right now. It's like, yeah. I don't know why the no plane. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's so many cool, and there's even some wireless sticks that are pretty good for the 360. Tekken theme, maybe. My friend Saburi has one. I have one. I have one somewhere. Saburi has a wired one, I think. Anyways, great. That's the way to go. So obviously, if you're really into shoot 'em ups and stuff, you'll know that already. I don't have to tell you. So. Anyways, you can see that this is a really crisp and beautiful port of... Is this the arcade version of Daytona, or is this the one of the Dreamcasts? I can't remember. I couldn't spot the difference right away. I mean, it looks so beautiful. I would guess the arcade. But it doesn't get much better than this, does it? For arcade ports. Yeah, this is the arcade version. How cool is this? Really, I had gone on a big break from video games back in the day, and it was the Xbox that got me back in. The OG Xbox. But from N64 until the OG Xbox, I didn't have any consoles. I won't bore you with Dig Dug. Dig Dug is another one of the games that it's my arcade game. It's the one that I love the most, and that's why I have the PCB. And I have very rare Namco Arcade Classics Volume 2 that has Dig Dug 2 on it. It also has Dig Dug 1, but that's the jewel of my arcade collection, really. Could show Fighting Vipers. That would be a cool one. Half Minute Hero is a really cool one that I don't know if people have heard about that so much, actually. Maybe I should put that on. I won't, because I don't know what it has at the beginning. Hydro Thunder. It's kind of in the same vein as Daytona. My cat's here. There's Injustice. You guys know about that already. I'll try to find something you don't know about. Lots of really good King of Fighters games if you're into those. Those, I assume, have made it to Xbox One. Maybe not. Yeah. You know. I don't want to pull up too many arcade ports because now I'm starting to question whether they're as good as I'm remembering them to be. Some of those 2D ones, I mean, where you couldn't turn off the filtering. Unfortunately, I couldn't get... Let's take a look and see if there's a title update for this. You know, it looks like when I dumped this from the disk, it looks like it didn't dump right at all, because it's not even pulling up the details about it like it should be. Oh, I know what I want. Sorry if this is making you dizzy. It'll be over soon. Here we go. Serious Sam. Okay, I really like Need for Speed Undercover, even if the dialogue and the cutscenes are like entirely beneath me. This is a game that doesn't respect its audience whatsoever. It thinks that you're as stupid as it is. But the actual game is pretty good. Oh, your CRT weighs 180 pounds. Yeah. My friend's XBR, my friend Saburi is a professional weightlifter, like sponsored and everything. And he had to get a friend to help him move his XBR 960. That says a lot. It detected that I have the latest title update. Did you see that? That was through Unity. Anyways, these Need for Speed games, they have a real immediacy to them. Like, you just jump in and once you get, 30 seconds of acclimation and you are in an arcade-style racer with, like, crazy action. Really good games, so these were AAA stuff back in the day, and don't let the stupidity of the dialogue and everything bother you. It's good stuff. Some of them. I mean, I won't vouch for all of them. I haven't played all of them. I know there's like 10 of them right there. I know Hot Pursuit and Undercover are really good. Undercover, you're like, or Hot Pursuit, you're like fleeing the police all the time, kind of like I guess like GTA. I don't really play that game so much. I don't play it at all. I don't even have it on here. I haven't played it since way back when it was brand new, but I don't have a top 10 games list, but that's something maybe I would like to do. The problem is that the minute that I said this is my favorite game, it changes, or I realize that I forgot about a game or something. If you see, I mean, all HD CRTs are not created equally, but if you see something like an XBR 960, grab it. Here we go. Oh, so I'm in the game actually right now. Okay, I got busted. I didn't realize the game had booted itself up. Okay. So again, like, do we really need to see all this? Just put me back in my car. Be gentle with me. I love that you have a SWAT team after you. What did I do? I didn't even read the intro. Anyways. It's time to put a stop to what's going on around here. You got to get those curb TVs. If you're driving by and you see Sony on the front or Toshiba, I would recommend pulling over and giving it a one-over. Yeah, I have Outrun 2. I could boot that up next, actually. Gornway. I showed Outrun Arcade, the 361, whatever it's called, Outrun Live Arcade, or I could show some Outrun 2. Love that game. One of the best games for the OG Xbox. But this is a cool one that you can use the racing wheel with, I believe. That has force feedback and everything, like I said. Escape. And yeah, you have like, you can slow down time, and you can get boost, and all that. I forgot the controls, so. My cat is up to no good right now. I might have to go deal with that. Psst, psst. Come here. He's behind the TV doing something. Alright, let's pull up Outrun 2 in a second. I'll just let myself get busted again. Busted. So, speaking of those OG Xbox gems, Outrun 2 is definitely... A lot of people would probably say it's their favorite OG Xbox game, and I wouldn't argue with them if they said that. For me, it's like Crimson Skies, Panzer Dragoon Orta, and Outrun 2, probably. And I did this cover, speaking of it. Hold on to your butts. I mean, officially licensed Ferraris, come on. And it looks so good. I mean, this is, of course, a 480p game, I'm sure. I can't remember. I don't think this is one of the 720p games. This is a really early one, wasn't it? But it's 720p here. And you can count the pixels on the screen. Oh, you're thinking of Outrun Arcade. I did show that earlier, so... Oh, come on. All right, I've got the batteries here. That's what my cat was after. Let's see if I just jump into Outrun 2, how good I can do. Oh, this is the Japanese one. Because, if I remember correctly, isn't there a, yeah, you get more music or in another stage or something if you have the Japanese Outrun 2? I can't remember. Here we go. And it really, you know, it's a 3D game, but it really does. They captured the feel of Outrun somehow. And you're supposed to be doing... I'm going to have to go lock up my cat, I'm pretty sure. If I'm going 270, how fast are these other people going? Whoops. Yeah, I landed it. That's fine. Let's see, how do I do, I'm supposed to drift, aren't I, to impress the, passenger? Anyways. So there's Outrun 2. Not doing it much justice here, but, you know. Yep. Cat jail in my house is a room with a king-size bed in it, at least. About to get a game over, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe not. Oh, one of my lasers just shut down. Oh, the 8-player version. They had like one of those giant 8-player cabs set up near you. I live too far from civilization to see anything cool like that. I've seen pictures though. I love this era of arcade racing games though. And so many of those, was it Sega... Was it called Model 3? Is that what, like, Daytona was on? There's so many racers that never got arcade ports from that era. It's almost shocking when you see. The only way to play them is through an emulator. Yeah, I mean, this is the original Xbox game, just scaled up to 720p, I guess. I'll actually show that right now. Just show them side by side. Might as well. I redlined a Fiero, my 85 GT, back when I was an idiot. Took it up to full speed. It was like 115 or something. And I took my DeLorean with a friend up to 88 miles per hour, and that actually felt like 150 miles per hour in that pile of junk. It was not a luxury sports car by any means. Had a 2.8 liter in it. XBR 960 Good Mackie is what my friend has. And it was the last of the great CRTs, really, by Sony. After that, they switched to a different tube. I mean, it has like a fine pitch tube in it. It's basically the closest you can get to like a consumer BVM. Of course, BVM owners are like, ha, you know, hearing that, but it's true. Yep, I had a Coca-Cola Red DeLorean for about 3 years, from 99 to 2001. It's Outrun Arcade. And nobody appreciated my DeLorean back in the day. A very select group of people. I used to eat lots of fast food back then, and it was always fun to go through a fast food place, freak people out. Nice. My license plate was SMPMPK1, Smashing Pumpkins, and I actually drove the DeLorean. I met the Smashing Pumpkins in the year 2000. I drove my DeLorean to meet them, and I got there the night early and camped out. And in the morning, Billy Corgan showed up at like 8 in the morning and took like 10 of us out to breakfast at IHOP, and it was the coolest experience of my life. And then they gave us yellow wristbands so that we didn't have to come back and wait in line. So we all went and slept in our cars, and that also got us into the show that night in Champaign, Illinois. And so I decided, I took the front license plate off my car, and I brought that back to the record signing later, and I got that signed by the year 2000 Smashing Pumpkins, which was like Melissa Afterburner, Jimmy Chamberlin, James Iha, and Billy Corgan. So I have my SMPMPK1 signed license plate. And I cleaned that in the bathroom of the IHOP before I got it signed. Weird times. Alright, now we're into the actual Xbox 360 Outrun. And you can see there's a big step up in graphics here and all around. And I think this is Xbox Live Arcade exclusive, right? And you can actually, I'm using the D-pad right now, so I think in the other Outrun I was stuck using just the analog. But you can use the D-pad here, which is my cup of tea. There's my rival, another red Ferrari. Definitely want to go the easy route. Oh, my Ferrari is so much better than his. Mine's like 10 years newer, right? That's why I kind of, Billy Corgan back then was kind of my living god. I mean, I was 18 years old, and I was into this Pumpkins for like 4 years at that point. So it was my whole, like, coming into adult life. And so for him to treat me like that was really, you know, it was just incredible. And my friend Eric was there with me too, and I think he felt the same way. And apparently it's not like an isolated incident. Like, he still does that kind of stuff. And I've met him 3 times now. 2 record signings, and then once outside of a Zwan concert he came and just hung out with the people who hung out until like an hour after the show. We just stuck around in the club, and he was out front with us and just chatted us up, and it was like, you know, kind of cool. And then I met him at the release party at the Adler Planetarium in Chicago when his solo album came out. Life Begins... No. What was it called? Whatever his solo album was in like 2005 or so. Somewhere in there. It starts out with All Things Changed as the first song on it. Why can't I think of the name of it? Probably all this cachaça going in my head.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing so good now because I'm talking and I'm trying to read chat comments. Yeah, somehow I like the groups when I, you know, the groups of people, like when he took us out to breakfast, like it wasn't like weird fandom kind of stuff. So that was cool. And I assume like he wouldn't have taken us out to breakfast if there was a weird crowd like that. Anyways, that's my celebrity worship for the day. The only other celebrities I ever met were Our Lady Peace. And I don't even remember that guy's name anymore. Rain? He was a really cool guy too. Alright, so this is a beautiful game. It looks like I'm up in Peru, like near Machu Picchu right now, right? Just incredible. So this is the kind of jewels that you find hidden away in your Xbox 360 library. See, Xseed is actually a really cool 2D platformer. Let's see if we can find one more standout, like, phenomenal game that I haven't shown yet. No, it won't be super. I like Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. Let's see if that has an intro. Hopefully it does. So I know you all wanted like an R-rated Oregon Trail, right? Here it is. And it's an Xbox Live indie game, so another one that's extinct essentially. Oh, it's turbo. I never even noticed that. It's hilarious. Well, if you can do it yourself, Gornway, I have mad respect for you, because even I had looked into how to do it, and I think I spent a whole, you know, like 8-hour period of obsessively looking into how to RGH mod and install the chip myself, and I came out of it like, I'm just gonna pay someone, and that's a lot for me. Because I mod everything myself. There's only a few exceptions to that. The only things I haven't modded myself were like the Steve put the RGB amp that I needed in here and did the composite mod so that I could do the screen in my Turbo Express, and then I paid to have my 360 modded. But everything else I've done myself. So. Let's see if it boots into any kind of attract mode here. They call attract mode, by the way, if you've heard that term, is because in arcades, what you would call an intro nowadays, you called it an attract mode because it was there to attract people to play the game. So that little clip, like in an arcade of the gameplay and everything, that's the attract mode sequence because it's attracting people. So that's where that comes from, if you didn't know. You know, someone in the SmokeMonster Elite Discord said that they modded. I was talking about how hard it was and how you know, you could never do it and it was so impossible, and then they said like, oh, I did it in like a day. Oh no, that was the Wii. We were talking about the Wii. The Wii is another one. I modified mine myself. I soft modded it. I had it up and modded in like 10 minutes. But from that point until when I was actually playing games on it off the hard drive, it was like a week for me to figure it out. And someone in my chat was like, oh, I did it in a couple hours. I'm like, okay, I'm just an idiot then. So... Oh no, yeah, if you can RGB mod on NES, that's a big mod too. Serious stuff. So if you're at that level, I'm sure the 360 is no problem at all for you. I'm pretty sure at this stage I definitely could do an NES RGB mod since I have a nice desoldering station and everything. The big hang up for most people is getting that chip off there. That's no problem for me. I love pulling chips off of arcade boards. I do that all the time. I've pulled off 1,000,000 chips since I got my desoldering station. I had a huge backlog of things to fix, and I cleared that off in like a week. My cat is... begging. 1 second. Alright, he is curled up with his mommy now, so that's fine. Unfortunately, well, let's see, actually I'll see if I hit Start Adventure if it gives me. Here's the backstory for Super Amazing Wagon Adventure Turbo. And that's actually something I have on here. I have a DOS emulator, and you can actually play the original Oregon Trail on there. You have to hook your keyboard up. I have the Commander King games on here. I could actually show those just to show like how far you can delve into the world of emulation back in the day on a 360. They need to stock up on food, okay. So I'm collecting animal carcasses here. Bandits. Got a spread shot. I guess I could put this in the shooter section, couldn't I? You know, I might be the first person to ever stream Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. Machine gun arm bandit, oh no. It's like an old-timey machine gun at least. This is not as hard as I'm making it look. It's because I'm in a weird, awkward position here. Got some bullet hell. Not really bullet hell. Gotta look for wild berries. Okay, twin stick mode. I got berries. Some blueberries. Entrance to a cave, and she decided to investigate. It was very dark. Okay, I'm in the cave. It was filled with giant spiders. Oh no. And now it's like Robotron here. It's pretty awesome. Spread shot. Uh-oh. A river crossing. Let's jump over it. You know, because like, who wants to ford the river? There we go. Alright, so find some bears. But bears are food, apparently. We're in the Great Plains here. Uh-oh. What's better than dysentery, I guess? Buffalo. Oh no. It's a good thing we have like a bomber. Oops. This is hard. Getting hard here. And now it's getting really hard. I could use a power up. Alright, I became fertilizer. So yeah. Alright, I'll hang out for a few more minutes and then I'll do my wrap up and I'll say goodbye to you guys. Yeah, like I got my Wii all, you know, modified in a second and then getting all of the craziness set up. It's hard. And it left me feeling like I never want to touch the Wii's, you know, how it's set up ever again. I just want to, now that I have it set up, I want to leave it the way it is. And I am but way behind on chat comments, so. Okay, you guys like my Smashing Pumpkin stories? DeLorean. Alright, so thank you guys for joining me tonight. We took a long look at my modded Xbox 360, the most modern mod you can do, and I tried to make a hard pitch to you guys on why you should buy one. If you don't have one, go pick up a Slim right away and send it off to your friendly neighborhood modder. And start checking out the extinct catalog of Xbox Live indie games and delisted Xbox Live arcade games. And just have fun with all those games that you bought. You can dump them right onto the hard drive. You can you can get all of your Xbox Live arcade games and get them safely transferred over to your 360. You don't have to worry about all this nonsense of online marketplaces going down. You know, once you've got them on here, they're safe and they're secure, so you can have them forever. And Microsoft decided to get rid of Xbox Live indie games and to smack the face of 10 years of indie developers, but people like us are out there appreciating their work still and seeing it the only way possible now, which is on a modified Xbox 360. So if they didn't make it to Steam and they didn't make it to Xbox One, and 99.9% of them didn't, Xbox Live indie games is extinct. But I have got everything that I bought off of it secure here on my 360, and so should you. So yeah, thanks for joining me tonight, and a huge thank you to my patrons at any level. Get access to the SmokeMonster Elite Discord channel. You get an invite. You also get early access to all my YouTube videos, and a big thank you from me. So even the $1, I really appreciate it, and that's where all this new stuff that I bought came from, the Patreon fund. Even though I spent like 3 years, you know, I spent like 3 years ahead of Patreon money already. But anyways, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys joining me. And I'll catch you every week. Every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern is my weekly stream. And if you like the video, please like it and maybe consider subscribing. Then you get notified every time I go online. Your phone will buzz, or have you ever set it up? As long as you hit that little bell icon, ring that bell like Hector Salamanca, ding, 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 ding. And then you'll get notified. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. And thanks again for joining me.